Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to the Oriental Café, a podcast where we will sit at the same table to explore the fascinating worlds of Egyptian dance, personal empowerment, and halas, life. I'm your host, Joana Saahirah, world-renowned Oriental dancer, teacher, choreographer, and author, the creator of the pioneering Joana Saahirah's World and Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School. I will meet you at the Oriental Café every 2 weeks, alone or with a guest, sharing intimate yet universal conversations. In agreement or disagreement, we will create bridges and inspire each other, because the world is only one, and so is our human soul. Ready to fall in love? Yalla bina! Eight steps for a happier life. 8 steps that I swear by to bring more happiness, more joy, more fulfillment, more contentment to your dance and to your beautiful existence. Here's the theme of episode number 24 of the Oriental Café podcast by yours truly, Joana Saahirah. Now, before I share those 8 steps with you, let me tell you this is the last episode on our first season. This is exciting. We have received amazing guests, so my gratitude to those guests, their collaboration, the heart and soul they put into our episodes, and my gratitude to all the listeners, all the watchers, the supporters of this podcast. This first season was possible because of you, and you have my deepest, heartfelt gratitude. Be ready for season number 2 in everything better than the first. Oh my God. Wait and see. This will be exciting. Now, before we dive into the 8 steps that I swear by for a happier life, I'm going to promise you a gift. You know I love to give gifts. So at the end of this episode, you're going to have access to a free Egyptian dance class to make you happy. Yes, you heard it well. Egyptian dance makes you happy. That's one of the tools I swear by for more happiness on a consistent manner. And you are going to receive a glimpse of it. I'm gonna give you a bit of the honey. Wait until the end of this episode and claim your gift. Now, all that is left to say is subscribe to our podcast newsletter. If you want to receive this free class and other tips on happiness and so much more from me and my guests, you're going to find the link to subscribe to our podcast newsletter either in the show notes if you're listening to this episode on the audio platforms, or in the description box below this video if you're watching it on YouTube. This is it. We got everything covered, and now we can have fun. All right. Let me take a sip of my beautiful tea and take a deep breath, be with you, and once more tell you that what I'm going to share with you is my honest experience. As usual, I don't share what everyone else is sharing, and I don't share what comes in the books. I share what I have learned from experience. This is my style, okay? If I haven't lived it, I am not sharing it, all right? It's my limitation, and it's perhaps one of my secret sauces, all right? So what I'm going to share works with me. What I suggest is that you test it and see if it works with you too, all right? So the first step for a happier life, and hear me out because this is basic. It's a pillar, okay? It's the act of demystifying this toxic culture of constant happiness, the pressure to be constantly happy, or the idea that if you're not happy all the time, you're a failure, you're a loser, you're missing something. You don't know of a secret, a trick, an app, a product, a supplement. This illusion that somehow we can escape life's hardships, that life is supposed to be happy and smiley all the time. Now, let me know in the comments to this episode if you disagree with me. From my experience, life is dynamic. There is no happiness without unhappiness. There is no genuine laughter without a genuine tear. If we don't lose, we don't gain. Life is, let me repeat, dynamic. It doesn't happen in a straight line. We're not always winning or always losing. We're not always sunny or always dark. We're not always feeling down or always feeling up. Life is full of different seasons, different moments, different experiences. One of the most beautiful things of being human is the ability to feel everything. And that means feeling the pain, feeling the sadness, feeling the injustice, feeling the loss, feeling the frustration, feeling all those things that we would rather not feel. Okay? So let's destroy this toxic idea that in order to lead a happy life, you have to be happy and joyful and smiling all the time. That's psycho. That's psycho material right there. All right? Allow yourself to be sad when you need to be sad. Allow yourself to cry. Emotions come and go. This is something I teach my students all the time when we're working in Egyptian dance, because Egyptian dance is an emotional language. It's deeply emotional. So what I teach them is allow emotions to come and go as they want, when they want, if they want. There is no control over emotions. They are water. They're like the ocean. A wave comes and goes, then a tsunami comes and goes, then there's no movement, then there is a lot of movement. We have to allow ourselves to navigate the waters of our emotions and the emotional experience of being human in this imperfect world, instead of forcing ourselves to be happy all the time. That doesn't exist. Damn sure you can have a positive attitude and you can cultivate happy moments, happy decisions, happy relationships, happy work. You can focus on creating more joy in your life for sure, but you cannot escape the darker side of life. You cannot escape the losses. You cannot escape the sadness. And if you do, chances are you're disengaged. You're not empathetic with the world, with yourself, with life itself. And you're maybe, I'm just saying maybe, a psychopath. Yeah. If you're always happy, always smiling, and if you think everything is perfect all the time, yeah, I'm so happy 24/7. Chances are there is a cycle, something going on. It's not normal and it's not healthy. So the first step to a happier life is to embrace the fact that life is dynamic, filled with everything from the lightest to the darkest, from the happiest to the saddest, embracing it all, living it all, allowing it all to come into our experience, and feeling thankful for the gift of being alive and able to feel. That's the first thing, all right? The second step to a happier life, distinguishing between contentment and happiness. Even when you're sad, you can be content. Even when you don't get what you want, you can be content. There is a difference between contentment and happiness. Contentment is an underlying feeling of satisfaction and gratitude for what you have. Happiness is more occasional. It comes and it goes. I cannot be happy if I'm sad, but I can be content if I'm sad. I can be so present in my sadness during a hardship, during a loss, that I feel grateful for this moment. I still see the big picture. I see all the blessings I have in my life. And at the bottom of it, at the bottom, beneath the sadness, I get to feel a sort of fulfillment. Once again, because I'm aware that life is not supposed to be pleasant all the time. I'm not a child. And it's crazy how many adults act like children. They think life has to work around their belly. Life has to serve them, their dreams and goals and wishes on a platter. And when it doesn't, they feel like failures. Why am I feeling sad? Why am I feeling down? I shouldn't. It's not cool. It's not cool. You know it's not cool? Pretending to be whom you're not is not cool. Pretending to be happy when you're sad is not cool. Lying and editing and faking a life that doesn't exist, damn, that's not cool. Being honest and being free and fully human, as far as I'm concerned, is the coolest thing you could ever be. Contentment means gratitude for what you have. Even during the hardships, I see the big picture, I see what I am, I see all that I have, and I understand this too shall pass. That's the second step for more happiness in your life. Understand the difference between happiness and contentment and embrace that contentment. Embrace the notion there is so much to be grateful for, even and especially during the hard moments. Now, I'm going to make a little pause here to remind you. There is a cool Egyptian dance class that I have prepared for you, particularly focused on happiness. What? Yes. Egyptian dance, as you may imagine, is something that makes me happy. It makes me happy because it's my career, it's my vision, it's my mission, but also because it feels so damn good. When I'm down and when I need to uplift my spirit, that's where I go. I go back to Egyptian dance because it never fails to make me feel like myself again. It never fails to bring me back to a state of pure joy. I did not want to keep this tool for myself. So, for God's sake, don't forget to claim your free Egyptian dance class by yours truly, Joana Saahirah, somewhere in the show notes or in the description box below this video. Now, let me continue. We were heading for the third key to a joyful, happier life. And that is intentionally investing in things that make you happy, things that give you pleasure. And they don't have to be big things. They can be small things like working in the garden, helping other people, volunteering in an animal shelter. I don't know. And this is why self-awareness is so important. Knowing yourself and knowing what fulfills you, what satisfies you, what brings you joy. That's very important. It's not about what your neighbors do for fun. It's what you do for fun. It's not about what others think is pleasurable. It's what you think is pleasurable. It's not about what makes others happy. It's about what makes you happy. And that only you can answer. I don't know what makes you happy because I'm not you. Self-awareness is essential in dance as in life. My students know this very well. I am a pain in the neck and I'm always saying it. This is why we work on self-discovery and empowerment in all our courses at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School. Why do you think we do it? Because I know that every growth, every evolution starts with self-awareness. What makes you happy? What gives you pleasure? Now I know, wait a second, you're going to tell me, Joana, but there are obligations, there are duties, there are things I have to do to survive, to pay my bills, to put bread on the table. Let me remind you, I don't come from a family of money. I don't come from privilege, quite the opposite. So I know a thing or two about survival and thriving and having to put bread on the table from my work. Don't come telling me about how many obligations you have and how many duties, because most of us, myself included, have loads of them. There are so many things I don't necessarily like to do that I have to do. Taking care of taxes, making a certain amount of money to keep my business and my life running, cooking and cleaning, going to doctor's appointments, showing up for my work when I'm tired and non-inspired and I would rather sit and read a good book. I mean, I could be here for a long while giving you examples of things that are duties or obligations for me, and I have to do them. So of course, most of our time, at least for most of us, is occupied with commitments and obligations we have to fulfill. I get that. But I also know there is a lot of time wasted on social media, gossiping, television, and other needless tasks. Rescue that time. Bring it back to yourself and ask, how can I use this time to bring more joy into my life? What can you do every day to make yourself a little bit happier? And again, it doesn't have to be big. It can be as small as taking a walk in nature or reading a good book for 15 minutes with a cup of coffee by your side. That's one of mine. Okay? I love sitting by the sun with a good book and a cup of coffee. It makes me happy. 15 minutes, that's all I need to feel like my day has a meaning and the sun is shining and I have reasons to smile. It can be that simple. So find what makes you happy, what gives you pleasure, and incorporate it in your daily life as much as possible. Stop feeding your excuses and self-sabotaging. I cannot bring more joy into my life because I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, I don't have the resources, I don't have the conditions. Stop that. You're not going to hurt anyone but yourself, okay? So I'm not going to buy into any self-sabotage strategy, and I hope you won't buy into it either. Meshi? Okay. Meshi, it's an Egyptian way of asking you, okay? All right? Are we good? Do we agree? Meshi? Yeah. Aywa. Okay. So aside from demystifying the toxic culture of constant happiness, aside from distinguishing between contentment and happiness and investing in what makes you happy and joyful, you can also nurture the little pleasures that feed your soul. Now, I'm talking about the soul specifically because I believe that a true state of happiness comes from the soul. And not everything feeds our soul. I know that working out gives me pleasure. It's necessary, but it doesn't necessarily feed my soul. I know that watching a comedy, a movie that makes me laugh, makes me happy, makes me joyful, but it doesn't necessarily feed my soul. So here I'm being very specific. Searching for daily pleasures, small things that feed your soul. For me, that's time in nature. Time in nature in silence. I work in our land. I put my hands on the dirt. I listen to the birds. I listen to the silence. I look at the sky. I meditate for a while. I am with my breath. And my soul is replenished. But once again, I don't know what works for you. A lot of it comes, let me repeat, from self-awareness. You gotta know what feeds your soul. What feeds your soul? What makes your soul come alive? And invest in it. just like you have invested in daily pleasures and daily joys. At least one thing that fulfills your soul. Then I'm going to share something that is arguable and potentially polemic. And let me know if you agree with me or not in the comments to this episode. The next step for a happier life, at least in my experience, is to always have a big dream on the horizon. Something that gives you purpose, something that makes you want to wake up in the morning. Now, I have met people who did not have a big dream anywhere, and they claimed to be happy. Furthermore, they claimed they did not need a big dream to feel happy, and I envy them. I envy those beautiful aliens, but honestly, I'm not one of them. I need direction in my life. I need something that excites me. I need dreams that scare me a bit, that are a little bit bigger than myself. Dreams that challenge me, that make me learn something, that make me push my boundaries, get out of my comfort zone, test myself, test new waters, and challenge my ability to manifest in the world and the knowledge I have of myself. I need that fire. I need that kind of dream on my horizon, and usually more than one. I'm ambitious, so I love to have personal and professional dreams on the horizon, not just one, but several. That allows me to wake up in the morning excited, full of enthusiasm. There is a reason why I'm waking up in the morning, right? And once again, they must be dreams that have a component of soulfulness. I have noticed they are not purely egotistical. They're not purely built around my ego and my vanity. They're bigger than my ego. They're soul-oriented, right? So one of the big dreams I have on my horizon is to grow Joana Saahirah's online dance school and platform to touch not hundreds of dancers from all over the world, but thousands, millions. That's one of the dreams that is there on my horizon, calling me and pushing me and asking me to develop myself as a teacher, as a dancer, as a pedagogue, as a choreographer, as a creator, as a visionary, as a business person. That dream challenges me from the core. It breaks me open. And I love it because it allows me to grow. It allows me to help and empower and benefit a lot of people, change people's lives. I mean, how satisfying can that be? Can you imagine that? Changing people's lives, doing something that I love and know in depth? That's exciting. Oh my God, that's reason enough to smile from my womb. And that's what I do. I always have scary, big, exciting dreams on the horizon. And I suggest that you establish yours. At least one big dream that excites you and scares you a bit. Okay? Be ambitious, think big, and start small. All right? And if you don't agree with me, if you don't need a big dream on the horizon to feel excited and happy, let me know. I'm always curious to know what excites people, what moves people, what motivates you. So feel welcome to disagree with me and let me know in the comments if you are one of those gorgeous aliens who don't need dreams to feel excited and with a purpose. I would love to know about it, okay? Then we have, let me check my notes because I don't want to forget anything. The creation of real human relationships. Not perfect, but fulfilling and coming from a place of love. Now, we live in the era of social media. I'm aware of it. A lot of people follow me. They follow my work. Strangers, students, colleagues, people who have met me in festivals around the world, people who have seen me perform in Egypt or in stages in their own country. People who have read my books. I mean, I'm in contact with so many people on a daily basis, but those are not deep human relationships. Those are acquaintances, distant, virtual acquaintances. What I have found is that if we don't have a small but solid group of people in real life that we love and trust, our life quality and levels of happiness go down the drain. Knowing someone on the internet or having people following us is not the same as having human, real, fulfilling relationships. So make sure that you don't confuse acquaintances with real relationships. And I'm not saying you should quit social media. I love social media. I'm a double Gemini, guys. My Sun and my Venus are both in Gemini. I love to communicate. I love to build bridges. I am genuinely curious about what other people think, what other people feel, how they do what they do. This is why I love to dialogue. I love to communicate with my community, with my students, because I have this curiosity in me, right, about the other. I love it. And I work on social media. I have an online school and platform and a podcast, for God's sake. So, of course, I love it, but I don't let it fool me into thinking all of this virtual work and connection replaces real human relationships. I don't mean you need a battalion of friends. Who has the time for it, really? I hardly have time for myself. But what I do mean is that investing in a close, small, real circle of human relationships that come from a place of love is a key to true and long-lasting happiness. And if you don't have those relationships, be humble enough and brave enough to reach out to people and open yourself to them. Join a club. Go to the gym. Organize a party in your neighborhood and invite neighbors you have never spoken with. I don't know. Use your imagination. Be the first one to take that step of getting closer and opening yourself to real human relationships. Yes, they're hard because dealing with human beings is challenging. People will disappoint you. They will fall short of all the expectations you have for them. They will do mistakes. They will eventually hurt you just like you hurt them, unintentionally. We are humans. We're not machines, perfectly programmed to perform in a certain way. No. Allow others to be human the same way you allow yourself to be human, and invest in those relationships. Hear me out. Then we have our two last steps, 7 and 8, for a happier life. And they're very simple and straightforward. One is a cliche, but it's a cliche for a good reason. And the other one is not a cliche, but it's expectable. So the 7th step for a happier life is to invest in your health. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health. Starting with the physical. There cannot be spiritual or emotional or mental health without physical health. So yes, let's go back to the basics. Healthy diet, exercise, and rest, at least. Healthy diet most of the time. 19% healthy, 10% unhealthy, okay? One day a week, you cut yourself a slack. The rest of the days, you're careful about what you put into your body. The drinks and the foods that you ingest, all right? Physical exercise, you don't need to run the marathon, but you need to do it consistently. And rest, all right? Those are the basics. Last but not least, the 8th step for a happier life is predictably practicing Egyptian dance. Now I know I am biased. I know it. But hear me out. You don't have to believe me. You just have to try it. Whenever I feel down, whenever I want to uplift myself, I go back to Egyptian dance. It's not because it's my work or my career. In fact, I've been doing it for so long. The most obvious thing to do when I'm tired is to run away from it, right? But there is a reason why I close myself in my dance studio and I dance. I dance to feel like myself again. I dance to feel joy. I dance to remember what happiness looks like. And because I don't wanna enjoy that gift all by myself, I have, as promised, a free Egyptian dance class to uplift your mood available. All you gotta do to claim that gift is to follow the link that I'm sharing in the description box below this video or in the show notes if you're listening to this episode on the audio platforms. This is it. Do this beautiful free Egyptian dance class for more happiness, and don't forget to like this episode if you liked it, rate it, follow the podcast, comment on the episode, and share it with your peeps. Last but not least, subscribe to the Oriental Café podcast newsletter if you want to be the first to know about our second season and the seasons that will come, and if you want to receive exclusive inspirations and content from myself, your host, and the beautiful guests that I'm bringing into this coffee. You don't want to miss it. So all you gotta do is follow the link and subscribe to our podcast newsletter if you are not a part of it yet. Last but not least, I want to thank you one more time for being a part of this community, for listening, for watching, for sharing, for loving, for recommending our podcast. This would not be possible without you. I'm going to have a little break and I will prepare the second season of the Oriental Café podcast. Only the best for the best. That's you. I love you. I will see you and dance with you soon. Don't forget to claim your free Egyptian dance class if you are interested in a mood uplifter. And if you want to be happier, you know where to claim your class. Love you. See you and dance with you soon. Mwah.